brand new episode of Style Sessions, a podcast dedicated to helping you find and design and cultivate your own personal style, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe it, right? I mean, we talk about a bunch of different things. You know, we try to cover style, fashion, how to wear things, how to do all that stuff, I suppose. Normal mic adjustments after I just did it 55 times off camera. Just we'll do it. Right, yeah. Camera starts, do a mic adjustment, right?
No problem. My name is Aaron Selberg. With me, as always, is Jeremy Reed, and welcome back.
Yeah, thanks.
What's going on, man?
I mean, yeah, no, not much. You know, another beautiful day out here. Weather's great here in Midwest Illinois.
We'll have to enjoy it for the next week or
6
so.
days.
Then,
Yeah.
Next week, 6 days from now, it'll be blizzarding and
which is
2 degrees.
Which is what it is,
cool.
I guess.
Love it.
I like the get up today.
Oh, thank you.
A little
very much.
purple added in there.
Yeah,
purple and blue. I love the color look there. So
I love this is your new stance suit, right? Your custom suit.
Yeah, this is one of my stance suits.
I love this.
Absolutely love this suit. It's a summery suit, but it's a little dark, so it's going to transition really well into the fall, which I'm excited about. Paired it with a different. I actually got a polo on today.
You do have
something different that you don't see all the time.
You don't. No, we don't.
No, you don't. And I honestly don't. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, if a customer were to come in and want this outfit, I probably wouldn't sell it to him. You know what I mean? I wouldn't like.
I don't know about that.
Well, I don't know that. I guess here's my thing. If they are a novice in wearing outfits, I don't know that this would be goodbye.
Seriously. I swear to God, dude.
I don't know what's up with that thing.
Well, I don't know. It's fully charged, too. I don't know if you saw it. It's fully charged.
It hates recording. Hates
it's like,
it.
I'm doing my job. Fuck yeah.
I'm done.
That's what you get when you buy shit on Amazon for $25.
I get it.
Fully charged, look.
I see the battery. Why are you stopping, camera?
So it's recording.
Try it. Try it. We'll make do with what we have.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
So yeah, what I just mean, like, if it's somebody that's not used to wearing suits and stuff, this isn't going to be the first suit outfit I plan for them.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you meant like a suit with a polo.
Yeah, I just, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a different look.
Yeah.
It works. You know, it's obviously got a collar and it does what it does. I mean, I wear T-shirts with suits sometimes.
I like that it's got the pocket.
Got a little
bit
pocket
of,
there.
like, dressy detail. It's kind of cool.
Right. It's just, as I said, I wouldn't do this for a guy going, "Hey, I got a job interview or something." You know what I mean? Like, no, that's not what this look is. It's casual. It's fun.
I am a little surprised that it's not a Psycho Bunny polo, though.
Yeah, this is actually a Saks. It's a demo.
Yeah.
Like, this is a new product they have coming out.
Okay.
And it just feels amazing.
Yeah.
Wearing it, it's so comfortable. I was like,
I mean, that's Saks. I'm not
It
surprised.
is. It really,
everything
truly is.
Saks does is absolutely incredible.
I've been so happy with them for years now.
Yeah.
Just amazing. So, but yeah, anything going on with you? What's new down with you?
We got some new stuff coming in. Like, we've got our new faux selvage denim from DL came in. I am so excited about that.
Can't wait to see those.
My God, we've got. I'm like desperately waiting. I'm like about to put a cot up in the back so I can wait for the new Johnson & Murphy shoes to come in.
Oh yeah, those shoes are coming in, which is honestly, it's great that you bring up shoes, because I mean, I know we're getting a lot of our stuff from our fall. We got some ties coming in, but today is specifically on shoes. I wanted to talk about shoes a little bit.
Yes.
And so, you know, throughout this, I said we're going to talk style, we're going to talk how to do things. Today is going to be a little bit of education, which I'm really excited about personally.
My personal thought process is that in order for you to be a true, like, sartorialist, I guess.
Sure.
You have to educate yourself and understand where things come from so that you can kind of know what to look for in good quality stuff.
Agree. Couldn't say it better myself. And so we kind of talked last night or whatever coming into this, and ideas started flowing, and I was like, yeah, this is the topic I want to go with. So today we're going to flip it up a little bit. I'm going to kind of MC a little bit. I'm going to ask you, the expert today, the shoe expert today.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, well, you're gonna foe as one if nothing else.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it, right? Isn't that one of those things? Yeah. But it's exciting for me because some of these things, and I was reading through some notes. I knew them. I'm like, oh yeah, but I didn't know some of the backstory. So I'm excited to share that and dig into it. So, I think without further ado, I think we should start with maybe styles of shoes.
Yeah.
Maybe just some of these words that we hear out there. Last week we talked about a Chelsea boot and things like that. And we're always talking about different shoes. If there's a way, and I guess before I turn it right over to you and have you give us a little thing here, folks, we're going to stick mostly to dress shoes. We're not talking sneakers or trainers if you're from the Great Britain or
Sneakers, I think, is like a whole episode on
it's its own thing.
It's its own thing.
We may touch on it a little bit when we get to shoe care later in the episode on sneakers, but for the bulk of this episode, we are talking leather dress shoes. Yeah. Is really where we're at. So, I guess my question is let's talk about styles of shoes. Tell me what we have. Give me some categories, and we'll go from there.
Okay. So the first dress shoe that always comes to my mind when I'm thinking dress shoes is like the most classic one, which is a lot of times people know it as an Oxford dress shoe or an English dress shoe. If you're really into like the construction, like I am, of dress shoes, it's also called a Balmoral.
Okay.
And a Balmoral basically, so essentially, like I'll give you a little bit of history of it. So an Oxford dress shoe or an English dress shoe or a Balmoral dress shoe is basically originally designed in like the 1600s in Scotland.
Okay.
And it is named after the Balmoral Castle in Scotland.
Cool.
And then like the 1800s or so, it actually got adapted by like British preparatory students.
Okay.
In Oxford, and it became the Oxford dress shoe. But essentially, an Oxford dress shoe is what you would classify as something that's a closed lacing, which essentially means that it's going to have a closed vamp, which we'll put some videos and stuff in for the people who are listening. But and then essentially, it's going to have like a leather sole dress shoe. It's going to have a leather sole and all leather upper.
And I'm gonna pause you a few times throughout this just to help.
I'll ramble. So that's
right.
Good.
Well, I want to pause and get a few definitions, as we call it. Let's talk vamp for a second. I'd have to take my shoe off to show, but can you verbally describe the area of vamp on a shoe?
The vamp is the area from the bottom of the lacing area to the top of the tongue, basically.
Right, kind of the top part of your foot,
where the lacing is.
Up to the top of your ankle there. That's the vamp of a shoe.
And so Balmoral essentially means closed lacing is what that is. So the vamp is closed, and that'll make sense when we go into the next shoe, which is the derby shoe.
Sure.
And essentially the derby shoe is the opposite of a Balmoral. It's a blucher. It's an open lacing shoe. And again, in the 1800s, there was a Prussian general who all of the soldiers in the Prussian army were wearing Balmoral style shoes, which were closed lacing. And he wanted them to be open to create a little bit more comfort for them, essentially. So he designed the blucher style shoe, which is an open lacing.
So, and I, as I said, trying to make it digestible for everybody.
Yeah.
So when we say closed lacing and open lacing,
Yes.
Can you give an example of an open lace shoe? I mean, a derby shoe, yes, obviously, but like, I guess, trying to simplify it as much as we can. Would that be kind of like a sneaker lacing almost, like where it's a little more open and the tongue's not sewn into itself and it would flip out, essentially.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what we're talking about, is that, that Oxford, that vamp, it's all kind of one piece. And so it really fits snug on your shoe, even if it isn't tied. Right? The tying is just not completely decoration, but like it's like the shoes I'm wearing today have no laces because of the vamp itself holds your foot in there. So anyways, so I just wanted to kind of break that down for folks a little bit. But so we got the Oxford, we got the Derby, which probably two of the most common.
Yeah, I mean, and the blucher to me, the Derby style shoe is a little bit more of a casual shoe. It's not as dressed up as like a full on like Balmoral style dress shoe.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Oxford, Balmora, those are definitely what were considered mostly your dress shoe. What most folks are wearing if you go out and buy a dress shoe.
Right.
Awesome.
The next one I would say, to me, would be like a brogue, which would be, so a brogue can be either Balmoral or Blucher, or closed lacing or open lacing.
Sure.
And it's going to have perforations on it, which would be like the shoes I'm wearing. You're wearing wingtips.
Yep.
I've got a cap toe with a perforated toe cap. And those are, now they're mainly decorative. But when they were originally designed, they were, I'm making sure the cameras don't turn off. I swear to God.
It's okay.
Originally, when they were designed, they were fully perforated, and it was designed to be able to slog through the like swamps of Scotland, essentially.
Such an interesting idea. Like, let's just let the water get in our shoe and squish it back out.
Yep, pretty much.
Push it back out.
Yeah.
Very. I mean, so it's interesting because that was a tidbit that I wasn't aware that was the actual purpose. I figured there had to be though, right?
Yeah.
Like, people, I mean, there are some things that are just sheerly decorative, and things have transitioned to some of it to where it is just decorative.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality of it is a lot of times it's not a necessity. It's a utilitarian thing that things get designed, you know. So that was pretty interesting to see that. I always think of the movie The Kingsman.
Mm-hmm. Brogues, not, or Oxford's not Brogues.
Oxford, never
Oxford's
Brogues.
Oxford's not Brogues.
Yeah. I always think of that line. It's always funny about being a Kingsman.
That's because the Oxford is the dressiest shoe.
It's the like crown jewel of shoes.
Yeah, I agree.
In a way.
Yeah.
Right?
I love a good brogue.
I do too. And you know, I often will have broguing like on my shoe. Not necessarily on purpose, you know, because I do like a plain toe or a thing like that. But I think a lot of times I'm just sucked into that like a little bit more dressy.
I think most of my shoes, most of them, if not all of them, are either like a full brogue, half brogue, or quarter brogue.
Sure.
Like I've got like, I don't know, I think like 5 or 6 pairs of wingtips.
That
I
all
love
have
wingtips, you know.
I honestly would say cap toe might be my favorite.
Yeah.
So, and also, I'm going to pause there because this isn't really, I mean, but wingtip, cap toe, plain toe. Mm-hmm. Those are probably our 3 biggest ones.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. For dress shoes.
For dress shoes. So what we're talking about, guys, is on the toe of the shoe, if there's nothing at all, there's no stitching, no brogue, no
cap or anything.
Nothing. It's just one piece of leather.
It's a plain toe.
Plain toe.
Yeah.
If it goes across like across your toes, like perpendicular to what your toes are doing, a stitch going through there, they call that a cap toe because it looks like there's a cap on the front of your shoe. That's cap toe. Makes sense, right, guys? And then the last one we talk about is a wingtip, which actually, if you look at it, looks like there's wings as the cap of your toe. So when you hear us saying that, it makes sense to you know what we're talking about. So we got, what do we got? We got Oxfords, Derbies. What do we go on the third? Brogues, yep.
The last one, I would say the most casual one of them would be like a loafer.
A loafer.
And a loafer is basically going to be, you kind of have, I guess your shoes are kind of like a hybrid of an Oxford and a loafer, I guess.
They kind of are.
Is there like a slip-on Oxford, which is so weird to me. When they came in, I was like,
I don't think this is going to work.
I'm like, they're pretty dope.
I really love these shoes. They are Johnson Murphy collection, of course. I love them. I was nervous about them too. I didn't know how they'd stay on my feet because loafers, as you said, they're normally a slip-on. Much more casual. Sometimes you'll get a little more heel slip in them, things like that. Like, you're going to have some slipping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These here stay right on your feet. I mean, these are.
And I think part of that is because like with an actual loafer, it's a combination design. So like the ball of your foot will be what they classify as like a medium.
Sure.
Like medium width or a D is medium width within the industry, and then the heel will be most likely a C. That's like straight off of the.
Right. That's a normal.
That's like right out of the box. Right. A lot of times, like, I want to say that the loafers were originally, like, the design was created in, like, 1860 or something like that for, like, King George or something like that. And he was like, I want something that's a little bit more casual.
Yeah.
So his shoemaker designed the shoe, patented it, and obviously his shoes were custom fit to him. So, like, a loafer originally was designed to be, like, a custom fit shoe.
It's interesting.
And they became really popular in like the 1950s, 1960s because you would go to work, you would wear your Oxford dress shoes
Sure.
all day long, then you would come home and you'd go out to dinner, and then you would throw on your loafers. They were a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I mean, and then, obviously we all know the penny loafer.
Right. That's the most popular
That's the
one,
most
I
popular
think.
one, right?
I think that it's getting really close to being surpassed by like a horse bit loafer.
Yeah, I was going to
That's
say,
very Gucci style.
it is that's a very Gucci look. Because, I mean, they have the little emblem in there. Another popular was the tassel.
Tassel. I love a good tassel.
Tassel,
loafer.
good.
I used to hate tassel loafers a long time ago. Now I'm just kind of like, I kind of like them. I don't like the kilty tassels. That's one with the little skirt and then the tassels over it.
Yep.
I don't like those. Those are a little mannish.
Yeah.
But-
The interesting thing about that, saying it's old manish, because I agree, it is, right? It is. But there's something kind of fun about taking those things and making them. It's like the oxymoron of it, if you will. You're like a young guy wearing those. You're kind of like, all right. Tip my cap to you, sir. I tip my cap to you, sir.
I think part of the reason I don't like those too is because of the way the toe box is designed.
Okay.
On like the kilty tassels is because they're a little bit more rounded, whereas like most shoes now have a little bit of a, I don't want to say point to them, but they're a little bit more designed for like your actual foot.
Yeah, I mean they're meant a little more for comfort.
Right. So they've got a little bit more of a pleasing aesthetic to me than like a old school penny loafer or like a kilty tassel loafer.
Yeah.
And it's like a weird top stitch on the
top
toe
stitch
and
is
stuff.
always the top stitch is one of those things that, and I see it on my drivers sometimes. Kind of a lot of drivers, they kind of fall in that loafer category. Drivers would. But yeah, so I mean that's your four basic shoe things there. Any boots that we should add to this conversation?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Chuck-a-boot.
Chuck-a-boot.
Chuck-a-boot. Love a good chuck-a-boot.
I have a chuck-a-boot.
Beautiful chuck-a-boot. So the history of the chuck-a-boot is interesting because it was actually designed by Nathan Clark. Or, well, I shouldn't say designed, but he basically borrowed the design, like the inspiration of it. And Nathan Clark, if you guys have ever heard of the shoe company Clark's,
obviously.
He's one of the founders of Clark's.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he was deployed in Burma, and a bunch of the British soldiers there had this boot, which they basically had made by like a Cairo cobbler because it was lighter than their regular
combat boots?
Yeah, their regular boots that they were given by the British government, and it was lighter, and they were in the sand and stuff like that. And it was just a little bit better for them.
Easy to walk around in.
So that's why they call it the desert boot. So Chuck-a-boot is called the desert boot. And he's like kind of borrowed that design, and then he created like the Clark's Chuck-a-boot.
Which is very, very familiar with the Clark's, right? It's again, it's kind of like Kleenex. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it'll go there. So on a Chuck-a-boot, let's talk about what makes a Chuck-a-boot, I guess.
So a Chuck-a-boot's going to have 2 to 3 hole, like lacing holes. Never more than 3.
Okay.
2 to 3, that's it.
Yeah.
Sometimes
usually
1,
up towards the top of the ankle, like
yeah,
not
it's gonna
so
be
much
up
down.
Really, yeah, it's gonna be up really high. Your vamp and your gorget, basically, which is the area where it kind of opens on the sides.
Okay.
That's going to be up really high. The lacing's going to be up higher.
Yeah, very high, near the ankle. I mean, and usually these are boots that fall about the ankle bone.
Right. And then usually, like originally, they were pretty much only in suede.
Yep.
And then they had a crepe gum sole.
Okay, let's talk about crepe gums.
So the crepe gum sole had like had a specific like texture to it, which helped with like walking through the sand.
Which obviously what they're made utilitarian purposes now turn into fashion pieces.
And now they're gonna have like you have a pair of Chuck boots from Johnson, which are gorgeous.
They are.
And they're like a full Vibram rubber sole, and they're just
which they are
city
suede, but they are. I mean, it's a look. It's not function so much.
Again, like everything that is functionality is now more decorative than anything else.
It's really geared towards that and overall wearability. So yeah, Chuck-a boots. Think of those as an ankle-high boots. A lot of times going to be suede. Any more that might be a little bit of leverage. It's more the design. The top of it going to have 2-3 lacing holes. I mean,
up towards the ankle.
With a dress shoe lace in it usually.
Chelsea boot, man. would be the
Oh,
best
a
one.
Chelsea boot.
I
We got a
know.
Chelsea boot coming in.
I know. I'm so excited for that. So essentially, the Chelsea boot was designed originally as an equestrian boot.
So horse riding.
So horse riding,
Yeah.
which makes sense if you, really look at, like, especially a black Chelsea boot. It's got a little bit of elastic on the sides, and then you would have your shin and calf guards that would go over that.
Sure.
Right? And that was actually designed originally for Queen Victoria.
For riding horses.
For riding horses, yeah. Which is crazy.
Wearing the Queen's boot.
All right, pretty much, yeah, basically.
There you go.
And again, today it's more design elements and a little bit more decorative, but it's going to be like a plain toe boot.
Yep.
And you can get it dressier with like a leather sole. You can get it more. I have 2 pairs that have more of like a lug style boot, and I wear those in the wintertime.
Sure.
Beautiful for winter and with jeans and whatever. But they're dressy enough. If you get them dressy enough, you can rock those with a suit.
For sure.
As we saw in the '60s by Beatles.
I was going to say, I wanted to get there. I didn't know if you were going to go there. So obviously we are that type, we are that podcast. We are those people that would talk about it. So the Chelsea boot was ever made famous. I mean, if it was ever going to be made famous, it was made famous by the Beatles.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Definitely.
So if you see the pictures of the old school pictures of the Beatles, those boots they're wearing are Chelsea boots.
Yeah.
Like that's literally there where some people would have thought they made them for the Beatles, but obviously it was for the Queen.
Right. And again, those are going to be like an ankle boot. It's like a little bit. I think they're a little bit higher than like a chukka boot, but it's still classified as an ankle boot.
Ankle boot.
Yeah.
The other key component is no laces.
No laces.
0 laces.
Completely plain toe.
Right. My favorite boot.
I love them.
I mean, I love it from ease of wear, look, style. I mean, they're just so clean and crisp. And if you get a good chukka boot, you're just going to love it. I mean, you really, truly are. But yeah, for me, slip on, slip off. We've talked about this before with me not tying shoes. So,
Any other boots? I think so.
nothing else. I mean, as I said, that's the basic part. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of other boots out. There's the cowboy boots, the work boots, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But we're kind of talking in the dress element, like what you're going to wear from a dress. Something you could pair with a pair of dress trousers or a suit or something like that. You can always dress them down, but that's kind of the basics styles that we wanted to cover today.
Yep.
So with those styles, and I know you kind of did it as we were going, giving us a little history lesson on it. Is there any other little tidbits about any of those that we didn't dive into as deep as we should have? But I think we covered pretty much where they came from, who made them famous. I looked in most of our notes. I feel like we had a nice, well-rounded background of those.
I literally was like, just started typing last night, and all this stuff just started flowing out. Like, I was just like, okay, all right, here we go.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I'm a wealth of ridiculous and unnecessary knowledge.
It is, and I'm going to actually tap into it a little deeper yet. This actually wasn't on anything, but I know you can do it right off. I know you can do it right off your cuff. It's no big deal. So let's talk about the makeup of a shoe. Let's talk about the parts. We've talked about the vamp. We've talked about laces. We've said what the toes, different toes are, but let's talk about uppers, because you'll hear that a lot. If you start getting in good shoe conversations, you're going to hear the word uppers.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's this guy talking about uppers? What's he talking? Give me. Let's break down the anatomy of a shoe.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay. So essentially, for a dress shoe, you're going to have I would say like 4 major parts.
Okay.
Right? So you're going to have your upper.
Yep.
You're going to have your lining.
Okay.
You're going to have your midsole and your outsole.
Okay.
Okay. And then within that, there's a bunch of other stuff that goes on that we'll get into. So your upper is going to be essentially anything from the sole.
Okay. Makes sense.
Makes sense, right?
Sure. Easy peasy.
So, and this is in like hallmarks of a good quality shoes, like top grain or top leather.
Okay.
Genuine leather. Are like for me the 2 like hallmarks of like a really good shoe.
2 good starting points.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full grain leather is like the full on.
Like that's the best of the best.
Yeah, that's the best. And so if your uppers are like a top leather, genuine leather, or full grain leather or something like that, that's good. That's
Right. So
good quality shoe.
the top of the shoe, guys, when you're looking at it, it's not a plastic shoe.
It's not. Yeah, it's not
You know what I mean?
pleather.
It's not pleather. It's genuine leather, and so full grain you can always tell because you can see the grains of the leather in it. We have some full grain leather belts in here, and stuff like that. You can see it. It's very noticeable.
Right.
So Sorry, continue.
No, you're good. And then the lining would be the inside of the shoe. So, like, a lot of times when you look at a dress shoe, you'll see the outside is whatever color you want it to be. If it's cognac, if it's dark brown, burgundy, black, whatever it is. But then the inside of the shoe is going to be that lighter tan color.
Yep.
And that's the lining. It should be fully lined leather dress shoes. And that to me is like, a lot of times you'll have like a chuckle boot though, completely unlined. And that's okay because that's that's what they're designed for.
Right.
But like a leather dress shoe, I feel it should be fully lined.
Okay.
And that's like, and then the another part we didn't really talk about, but I'll touch on right now is the sock liner. So a lot of times when you're looking at a dress shoe, the bottom of the shoe where it has like the company's logo and shit in there.
Yep.
That's not the bottom of the shoe. That's actually just the sock liner.
Sure.
So
like
that
on the
actually,
inside that pops out, like the
right,
insole,
that'll come
if you
out.
will,
Yeah,
the insole pops out.
So on a dress shoe, they call it the sock liner.
Yep.
Right. So then under there is going to be your actual footbed.
Okay.
Which is the leather piece that's under the sock liner.
Makes
and
sense.
then between the footbed and the sole,
okay,
for a lot of dress shoes, you're going to have a cork filling.
Okay.
So like an Allen Edmonds dress shoe, which is what I have on now,
Yep.
has a cork bed between the outsole
Yep.
and I would say the midsole really, but like the midsole and the footbed.
Right. So just to do a quick review there, guys. So we got the.
I'll put some illustrations.
We'll have some illustrations too. I mean, it gets hard definitely when you're just listening, but I'm just going to try to replay it back to you. So that we got the top of the shoe, which is called the uppers. That's leather.
Yep.
You get to the inside of that. Now, a separate piece of leather lines it, or is it right?
Separate piece of leather.
So a separate piece of leather, usually really soft, palatable, almost like a suede, lines it, and then that's all sewn onto a combination of soles, midsoles and outers and all that. But if you were to pull out what's called the sock liner, or the insole, as a lot of folks know, like the little squishy part, whatever it is, pull it out of there, and you're going to see in there, you're going to start seeing stitching down in there in the bottom. That's usually a piece of leather that is your footbed, where your foot is actually designed to sit. Underneath of that, a lot of these companies will put cork in there. Cork's amazing, renewable. It's moisture wicking. I mean, it's got a lot of properties. The reason why they use cork, it's soft, it's squishy,
and
gives you some comfort.
It's designed to, as you wear the dress shoe, like especially for the higher end ones, it actually molds to your foot.
Right, it breaks. It's like memory foam. It's like the original memory foam.
Right.
There you go. So you got that layer of cork. So you got that leather there holding. You get the layer of cork, and then after that they have a midsole, which we're gonna get into that here pretty soon. But that's kind of where we're at right now, guys. So you got that. That's the top half of the shoe. So that's the uppers. Go ahead and take us to the next step.
So essentially, then once you have the midsole, then you're gonna have your outsole, which is actually the part that you're gonna be walking.
That's what touches the ground.
Right. So old school thought process is that it should be a full leather outsole.
Sure.
I don't necessarily agree with that because
And it's hard to find them anymore.
well, yeah, there's that, but then there's also the fact that for guys like us, we're on our feet all freaking day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You gotta add some comfort and some stability, because anybody that hasn't worn a leather sole shoe, and you do it in the winter months,
oh man,
bro, you're going down.
It's rough.
You're going down.
But my personal philosophy is that if it's a stitched sole,
Okay.
rubber or leather, that is a good quality shoe. And there's a couple different stitches. So I should take my shoe off, but I'm not going to.
I can take my shoe off if you need it.
No, it's fine.
It's easy to take off.
If you get like a full Goodyear welted shoe.
Okay. Explain that real quick.
Yeah, Goodyear welted shoe basically is there is what they call a welt, which is attached to the upper by what they call a gimming.
Okay.
On the underside of the footbed. It's really hard to explain
Sure.
without showing you guys.
Yeah.
But there's a gimming that is attached to the footbed, and then the welt is hand sewn to that.
Sure.
And then the stitch goes basically all around the perimeter of the shoe.
Yeah. Which, in my
Like my dress shoe, like my Allen Edmonds are full Goodyear welted shoe.
which it's hard. But I was gonna say, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just making sure. I think the old school for a lot of us, Doc Martens,
Yeah.
that have that sometimes different color
Yep.
stitching around there, that would have been a Goodyear welt.
Those are going to be like a Goodyear welted shoe. They're going to be a storm welt, so they've got like a little extra piece that goes around
it's
the
big
upper.
and bulky.
It goes around the upper to keep water from getting in. Basically.
Almost waterproof.
Yeah. So you're going to have a full stitched sole, whether it's rubber or leather. They can do it with rubber now.
Yeah, which is what I mean. I have a leather or a rubber shoe.
So yours are actually a Blake stitch.
Sure.
So the Blake stitching, they do that on these shoes because they're made in Italy, and Italians love their thin soles and all that kind of stuff, right? So those shoes have a midsole, but then the Danite rubber outsole is actually Blake stitch. So it's actually stitched from the inside of the shoe, as opposed to on the outside of the shoe.
So through the footbed is where the stitching is. It goes, so again, back through that. So that sock liner comes out, guys, that piece of leather. Underneath that piece of leather, it goes through the midsole, through the cork, outside, through your outsole, and back in. And that's how it's sewn, and that's how it's how it's put on your shoe.
Yeah, and those are like, and most shoes, I mean, realistically, are like a combination of cement, which is like a contact cement, it's like a glue, and a stitch.
Yeah, of course, makes sense.
And so those are Blake stitch. Mine are like a Goodyear welted shoe.
Yep.
Either one, or honestly, I think it's a lot of it's just dependent on the aesthetic of the shoe. Mine are a little bit heftier because I'm a bigger dude. Yours are more of that sleek, kind of more modern design.
Which is normally what we would be wearing.
Yeah. And then you have the heel.
Yep.
The heel of the dress shoe. Dress shoes always have to have a heel. And typically, like for me, it's either stacked leather, so you actually have pieces of leather that are stacked up to the heel, and then like a rubber topper on that, and then or it's compressed leather, basically, which is a little bit different, but basically the same concept.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Think of plywood compared to pieces of wood.
Yeah, piece of wood.
You know what I mean? Like think about taking a bunch of tiny pieces of wood and stacking them on each other, or getting a piece of plywood like a particle board. That's kind of what we're talking about when it compressed leather. This one here,
I think that one's compressed leather.
This one looks like a compressed leather. It almost makes it feel like a wood. Mm-hmm. It's almost wood-esque when it's done.
Yep.
So that's kind of the top to the outsole, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Question on some of the stitching.
Yes.
When we have customers looking for these shoes, when they're out there in the wild shopping for a shoe, I mean, obviously come talk to us and we'll guide you right down the path.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you're out there on your own and you're trying to figure this out, how can you look at a shoe and know, if it's, we talked about the three leathers that you really want to be, top grain, or full grain leather, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about the stitching, if it's got a Goodyear stitching or a Blake stitching. Is it easy for customers to see that when they're out there looking? Like, what's the visual
if you're looking for it.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're looking for it, I think it is.
So tell me how to look for it. Like, I have an idea what I would do, but give the listeners an idea.
So if you're looking for something that's like a Goodyear welted shoe, you're going to want to look for the stitch that actually goes around the back of the heel.
Okay.
Don't look at the sole necessarily to see if they're stitching on it, because a lot of times they do some fake stitching on it.
A lot of fake stitching out there. That's where I was going to go with this.
Yeah, and if it doesn't make sense, like where the stitching is compared to where the edge of the sole is, like obviously it's probably fake.
Right. It becomes decorative then. It's a design. It's not function.
Yeah.
Blake stitching's easy.
Yeah.
You look at the bottom of the shoe and you see if there's stitching in it. Yeah. I don't know that I've really ran across too much faux Blake stitching.
No, usually it's faux like Goodyear welting.
Goodyear welting.
Yeah, and if the heel is really close, like your shoe, if the heel is super close to the heel of the shoe, like the upper, then obviously it's not going to be fully stitched all the way around. Which again, not necessarily a bad thing. It just depends on some other factors or whatever.
Right. There's a lot of things, but those are some key things you can look at. You can look.
Look for the stitching on the top of the sole, basically. Like if you're looking down at the shoe, past the upper, look for the stitching that goes, all the way around, or you can actually see the stitching through the welt. Then you're probably good.
Then it's probably a good shoe.
The other thing you do is just look for specific brands.
Yeah, which we'll give you a list of some brands to look for. There was one thing that we talked about styles, and I'm surprised it didn't come up. As I said, before I get there, I'm going to stick a pin in that for a second. I'm going to come back to it. Was there anything else about the construction of the shoe that we need to know about Just overall on how they're made, how they're built.
I would say my big thing would be if you're looking for a leather sole or a leather dress shoe, look for a real leather dress shoe.
Sure, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like, just kind of understand what that means and the difference between like a pleather dress shoe and like an actual leather dress shoe. You have to kind of learn those things.
Yeah,
you know what I
and
mean?
there's going to be a price difference, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can go out and get a inexpensively manufactured shoe, but there's a reason it's inexpensive. The longevity of it, the wearability, the comfort, the look, all of that stuff is going to be less. And we'll get into that in some later videos about on how that can be utilized.
Price. I want to real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Price doesn't necessarily mean it's a good quality shoe. Like if it's a $200 shoe, that doesn't mean it's a good quality shoe.
Right.
You can find $200 good quality shoes, but just because it's $200 doesn't necessarily mean it's
You can find $200.
shit shoes.
Yeah, I mean that's the best way to put it. I mean shoes that you're like, oh, I paid $200 for this thing and it sucks,
And it's falling apart.
and it can't be fixed.
Right.
Which the good shoes can be fixed.
And that's the big factor for me is like I want a shoe that is resolable. And the reason being is because I get good quality shoes because they're gonna I have shoes that I've had for over 20 years.
Yeah, well, you take care of your feet will take care of you.
Right.
I mean,
it's a good quality shoe that can be resold and it'll take you'll have it for a long time.
Agreed. Speaking of good quality shoes, when we were talking about stylish shoes, you did not mention your favorite shoe.
I didn't. Right.
So I'm going to circle you back. I'm going to give you one chance to plug it and tell me about it because then we're going to jump into some shoe care.
So a monk strap dress shoe.
Oh,
which is what I'm wearing right now. It was actually designed originally as a dressier alternative for European monks, which obviously is where it gets into.
I mean, yeah, if the monks weren't involved here, I was going to throw a fit.
Right. So it's more of a it's kind of a cross between like a derby and a loafer almost.
Okay.
And so basically it's going to be an open lacing without laces.
No laces at all.
So it goes across where the laces would be, and then it's like buckles on the side essentially.
Right.
Which I love. I love a monk strap. I think it's really cool. It's just a cool look.
Yeah.
And people who made it really popular and really famous, Sid Mashburn. Made it really popular.
Yeah.
And so a good monk strap.
Yeah, so a little different, but yeah, Monk is a really unique shoe in the sense that it is kind of completely different than the other two aforementioned shoes. That the vamp area is kind of a split, and they kind of cross over each other, almost like a belt would on your pants or something like that. Where they're not coming together like this or already put together. I mean, they're sliding over. But I knew you loved a monk strap. You wear them.
Wear them now.
Wear them frequently. Which they are a cool looking shoe. Definitely had their heyday there for a while, but I think they are making a full comeback.
Yeah, they're coming back.
Guys hanging on, keeping them live, keeping them real. So we have talked about styles of shoes. Mm-hmm. We've talked about shoe construction. Yeah. What makes a shoe valuable, and what we need to look for. Mm-hmm. So I went out, I bought a good pair of shoes now. Mm-hmm. How do I take care of it? What do I need to do?
First thing you need is a good pair of shoe trees.
Okay, shoe trees.
Yeah. Got to have shoe trees.
It's like a money tree, folks. Shoes fall off it.
Exactly.
It's not.
No, it's not.
It's not.
So a shoe tree is going to be basically, a good one is going to be a cedar, what they call a last, which basically is going to be designed to keep the shoe from creasing. So if you wear a dress shoe all day and you're walking around and stuff like that, you take it off and you just leave it there, the toe's going to curl a little bit. The shoe tree is designed to keep it from doing that.
Right.
It's also, because it's cedar, it's designed to pull the moisture out,
which is
so
great.
It keeps your shoes from smelling disgusting.
Ugh.
And also, it dries them out so that you can go wear them again.
Yeah,
which is more frequently, which is nice.
We can wear them often, definitely your sweat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, visual description, guys. It's a shoe tree. I'm sure most everybody has seen it. It's the thing that looks like a foot, like a half a foot with a no toes on it.
Yeah.
And then there's a little rod that goes back that'll go into the heel of the shoe.
Piece, yeah,
little heel piece.
Pops in there.
And they're adjustable in size.
Yep.
You slide the toe in there, you put it in there, and then lock it, and it keeps everything straight.
Yep.
Keeps the sole of the shoe flat, straight, and saves saves them from creases and broken. You have to think these are natural elements. They can break down with moisture. Moisture destroys things like that.
Jesus.
Sorry about the lights, folks. It's okay.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because the reality is that if you look at like a dress shoe, like a leather dress shoe, it's just skin.
Right. It's leather.
Which sounds weird to say.
Yeah, you're wearing really skin on your foot.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. So with that being said, though, your skin needs to be moisturized.
Right. You put lotion on?
So another factor or another thing that I always have is a good leather moisturizer.
Like a conditioner.
Yeah.
Yeah, leather conditioner.
So for me personally, I really like Saphir, which is the brand. Okay. It's called Renovateur, and it is a leather moisturizer.
Of course.
And I clean and moisturize my shoes probably once a month, depending on how often I wear them.
Good.
You don't have to do it after every single wear. It's
a little obsessive.
It's fine. I also have a lot of shoes though.
Yep.
So I can rotate a little bit more. Another thing that, as I say that, is rotating your shoes regularly.
Yeah.
So if you only have one dress shoe and you have to wear them every day, they're going to wear out a lot faster.
It's going to happen.
And I understand that,
sometimes that's why, when you're getting started, sometimes that's what you start with.
Yeah.
We all had a point where we started there.
Yeah. I would say if you can, black and brown dress shoes.
A must.
And then try to rotate them as much as you can.
Right. Try to do a 3-2 throughout the week if you're working 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And I know you love the brand you had said. I also just want to let folks know, if you are near one of our locations, we do have like a cedar box of shoe care from our Johnson & Murphy collection.
And the Johnson & Murphy moisturizer and all their products are actually really good quality.
Which in those boxes, some other things that you're going to also need. You're going to need a nice soft brush, shoe brush. There's a cloth in there as well.
Mm-hmm. It comes with a dauber, which is that's what you get the shoe cream out of the little thing and brush it on and work it into the pores of the leather.
Work it into the pores of leather. Yeah. I mean, and really, and you'd said it a minute ago, but it's really important to think like leather is a lot like, it is skin in a way. Like it really is skin that's not living anymore, right? So, but you still have to take care of it. You still have to moisturize. You have to keep it moving, because if you just let it sit there and dry out, it's gonna break. It's gonna crack. It's gonna look bad. Yeah. So it's important to know this stuff when you're going into it. So you need one of these kits, and you need to properly condition your shoes. Like that's step one.
Yeah, regularly.
You have to keep those things soft.
Yeah.
And you have to keep the moisture you want in them.
Yeah.
You don't want water. You want this conditioner.
Yeah. You don't want water. You don't want sweat. You want
You want this stuff here that's gonna help
prolong
the life of them. So that's all that aspect of it there. Obviously a good polish, right?
Yeah. And so a lot of times if you don't know the difference, there is a difference between like a shoe cream polish, and like a wax polish.
Okay.
Cream polish is going to have most of the time it'll have pigment in it, which allows you to put pigment back into the shoe. And that'll have some polishing aspects to it. It's not going to be like super shiny, but it'll help it. And then like a wax polish will get you like, if you want like that mirror shine or whatever.
It's like, military shine.
Yeah.
That's the military shine.
Yeah. And the downside of the wax though is that it does, if you put it on too thick though, it'll crack it and it'll make it look all cracky and stuff like that.
And I'm curious if you ever saw this, and this was one of my former military friends that used to do this when it came to polishing and waxing their shoes. They would, you would apply it with the dauber, and you would rub it in there, and then you would brush it, and then you would get the towel, and you do that. But then they'd get their lighter out. Yeah. And they'd light it. And it would burn, which would make it even shinier.
Right.
So you've seen this. This isn't some crazy hack that only some folks knew about.
No, yeah. My dad taught me that because he was in the Army. And
okay.
So that's
former military folks.
Yeah, he had to, that's how they basically, that was the cheat code for shining their shoes.
If you were going to get inspected,
a mirror shine.
If you were going to get inspected, you had to have those shine, clean. But you get a lighter, you'd burn it, and it would make that wax harden up. Yeah. It would like crystallize it essentially.
And it gets super shiny.
Yeah. So it's a nice hack if you are using wax. There is ways out there to do it.
I don't know if I would do that on my dress shoes.
Yeah, I mean this was these were combat boots. I mean this was a combat boot. Folks were doing this on. But it's always a neat, interesting hack. So, Yeah, so we talked about, cleaning, shoe tree, wax, polish, whichever, we're going with there. Anything else on shoe care that we're thinking?
I don't think so. I mean, as far as I know that we're not really talking about sneakers, but
oh yeah,
clean your sneakers.
So actually, and I was gonna plug something that I just got recently. You were talking. It's called
Reshoevinator.
Yeah, with the number 8 in it.
Yeah. Love Reshoevinator.
So I just got that package. So I just got some white golf shoes. Everybody knows I talk golf every week or whatever. So I just got some white.
Your obligatory golf conversation real quick.
Yeah, right. Let me get this golf in there real quick. I golf, right? So no. What? You golf? But I got these, and they're cool, like the white Jordans. You know what I mean? They're real cool, they're cool golf shoes, right? And
the Jordans.
Oh. There's the Jordans. It's Jordans. Sorry. But they're white. I mean, they're pristine. And I have a pair of white sneakers, I guess. So I was like, man, so I did a little bit of searching and asked one of my friends, dude, get this Reshoevinator or whatever.
Reshoevinator.
And I will tell you,
that's all I use on my sneakers.
This kit, it comes with 3 brushes. It comes with the solvent and the towel. Comes in this neat little cardboard box that you can keep the stored all in. I cleaned both of my shoes up. They looked pristine.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's amazing.
This whatever they have in there, it's great.
Yeah.
So if you're a sneakerhead, you probably already know about it. If you want to be a sneakerhead, now you know about it.
Yep.
It's great for cleaning sneakers, and you could use it to clean other shoes too. It's not that, you know what I mean, but it doesn't have any polishing aspects or anything like that.
No.
So yeah, that would be my thing on sneakers is just clean them.
Yeah.
Just clean them.
Yep.
Change your laces out occasionally.
Yep.
On all shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think that's a nice educational format, right? I mean, so. I feel I don't know. I mean, if you think there's anything any questions I didn't ask you about the shoe world that you feel that we should tell our listeners about?
I don't know.
How about, and obviously we'll plug some of our own shoes, but tell me some brands that check off these, I guess these categories that we need to be a good dress shoe.
Yeah. I'll start at the top.
Tippy top?
Yeah. John Lobb.
Okay.
Which is a British designer. And they're expensive. They're $2,000. I mean, they're
thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Edward Green is another one who's up there $1,400 for shoes, which sounds ridiculous, but when you have a pair of shoes for 30 years,
yeah, and I mean,
kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
you look at it. Look at the value proposition of cost per wear, right?
Of course.
So if you're buying 10 pairs of, whatever
$100 pair of shoes,
$100 pair of shoes or whatever, how how much it's going to be the same cost versus buying.
In 10 years, it costs you the same amount to buy one nice pair of shoe.
Right.
And it makes perfect sense. Now, here is a thing I want to do. We got a couple more brands that we're going to talk about, but I want to let you folks know this. Don't buy a shoe that is, in your mind, so expensive you won't wear it.
Right.
Don't do it. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
And I get it. Yes, take care of your valuable things. And if you spend $2,000 on a pair of shoe, take care of it. We talked about it.
Right.
We'll go in more detail on it other days on an actual, we'll maybe polish a shoe on camera or something. But the reality of it is I've ran across people and they're like, oh, well, those are my good shoes. I only wear those for.
Yeah.
And they only wear them
every 5 years.
Right. There's no reason to have it. You're just wasting money.
Don't
do that.
Yeah.
So if you're not comfortable at $2,000, go to the $1,400. You're not comfortable at $1,400, go lower until you find a price point you're comfortable with. Now, there is a price point where you end up wasting money because you're buying the cheap shoe.
Yep.
But there's a happy medium in there.
Yeah. I would say that happy medium, for me, the next tier down for me, quality-wise, would be Allen Edmonds.
Yep.
And the reason I always plug Allen Edmonds is because I wear a lot of them.
Right.
Because I've had them for a long time.
They're time true tested. We do not sell them, but they are a great shoe.
Right. And they're they're going to be a full Goodyear welted shoe, and they're made in Wisconsin, and they're absolutely beautiful shoes. But they're again that $400 range or whatever, which a lot of people are like
oh my
expensive.
God.
And I would say that a good entry level shoe would be the Johnson & Murphy collection shoes.
Yeah.
Because they're really well made.
And they're made
in Italy.
They're gonna be that high 2s to mid 3s.
Yeah.
Probably.
$295
somewhere in there,
I think, for like those shoes.
Yeah, I think these are. Yeah, I think these are $295.
I think $300 for a
$300
good pair of shoes that are going to last you.
And that to me is the happy medium.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's the happy medium because here's the reality of it: I can wear those shoes and I can wear them a fair amount. If I can wear them longer than 3 years, they're fine, and obviously they last much longer than that.
Right.
They're going to last as long as those other aforementioned brands we just talked about because you can resole them, you can keep them in shape, you can do all that stuff. Yep. But the key thing is you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I can't wear them. I mean, we just referenced it, Jordans, right? Well, there's a $200 pair of golf shoes that I wear on the golf course. I walk through sand, I walk through mud, I do whatever with these stupid things, and I'm not the only one. I see folks, we have a location here in the mall. I see folks lining up in front of the sports store down the way for the Jordan releases. You know what I mean? And those things are a couple $100 a pop. If you can spend a few $100 on a pair of sneakers, you can spend a few $100 on a pair of dress shoes. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that. And that's my only point is that I get it. Sneakers are cool. They're collectors, blah, 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 et cetera, all that stuff. But these shoes here, they're an investment as well. They're going to last your lifetime.
I was going to say,
they're an investment.
They're just an investment.
These aren't just, this isn't disposable. You're going to invest into them. You're going to keep them, and they're going to be a key component in building your outfits. Yeah. So, with that, I mean, I think that's kind of some guidelines that we have for you. Yeah. Speaking of guidelines, I'm going to go ahead and give one last little heads up of what we have coming down the pipeline, and then I'm going to let you kind of finish it up, and we'll do a little bit of stuff here too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what we were talking about, shoes today obviously was a big topic, but going forward in September, starting the 1st of September through the whole month, 30 days, 30 upgrades. That's what we're going to call it. That's right. Something of that nature. Yeah, 30 days, 30 upgrades is probably what it is. But one of those episodes will definitely talk about upgrading your shoes. Yeah. So we're going to break it down into 2-3 minute segments, as short as we can. We like to talk, but we're going to try to break it down. We're going to try to give you some video evidence, and we're going to try to tell you how you can upgrade your look, your style, and all of that comes along with it in 1 month. Now, some of these things you might already be doing. Some of them you might not be doing. Some of them you may not be able to do yet. But I assure you, if you take these 30 things that we can come up with in the next 30 days, and you start implementing those into your daily practice, your weekly practice, monthly practice, so on and so forth, and upgrading over time, at the end of it, you're going to have a really good understanding of style, your style, a little bit of fashion, but definitely having a good look that you can use out there to promote yourself to the next level. Yeah. And that's where we're at. We want to build you to the next level. We want to help educate you. We want to help improve you. We think we know 30 things that can help. We feel pretty confident about it. We do. Yeah. We have a list of them already, folks. Yeah, we're pretty good. But
my camera died.
Well, it's about that time of the day. So let me.
It's like I'm done for the day.
Yeah. Well, you got anything else? As I said, I was really excited today to get to learn about shoes, and I appreciate you taking us down that path.
Yeah, so, no problem. I mean, my head hurts, so I'm probably going to go home for the day.
Take a day, right? Take a day. Take a day.
I've got to, de-stress now. No, I mean, my big thing would be like my big takeaway from all this, and I've said this for years, is save up and invest in a good pair of shoes. If you are a dude who is going to work every day and you're wearing dress shoes, invest in a good pair of dress shoes. Like, I'm not saying you have to go out and have to buy Edward Green $1,500 dress shoes every single time, but save up and get some good quality dress shoes. They're going to last you a lot longer than like some Walmart dress shoes or some, Shoe Depot dress shoes or whatever the hell, wherever you're buying dress shoes now. Yeah. Get some good quality dress shoes, and I think you'll be happier in the long run.
Yep. Yeah. My only my question today is really easy.
Okay.
What's your lapel pin say today? I can't see it from here.
It says equality. And it's a cup of tea.
It's a cup of tea. Yeah. The queen, I tell you, the queen makes the appearances yet again. Yeah, I picked your brain so hard today, I won't make you think hard. So that was my question of the week. I wanted to know what I love it. Equality. I love it, folks. And we're here for equality. That's right. All versions of it. The drinking kind and the human rights kind. Awesome.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode of Style Sessions. My name is Aaron, representing Jeremy Reed. Join us next week for another episode. If you want to subscribe, leave us a comment down below, or follow us on social media. It's at That Guy Secret Peoria, That Guy Secret of Peoria, That Guy Secret, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on all those.
TikTok.
TikTok. We're on there doing dancing.
We're not really. If it exists, we're on it probably.
We are, except for Snapchat.
Snapchat. We don't do Snapchat. We're too old for Snapchat.
Yeah, I'm too old for that. All right, guys. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.